Hey everyone, Andy Hall. You can just call me Dr. Kennard. This is the Disappointed Cat Morning Show. If you're going to meet me in real life, I do not look like this. No. If it was even more possible, I look even more like this. I got my new glasses yesterday. I'm hoping that these will last me another 10 years. The other glasses I had, I have a large head. And the stems get warped over time. And because, of course, I don't buy anything new. So I bought, except for these. This is the first thing I bought new, besides, of course, junk food from Burger King, for a long time. So this is, if you were going to see me on the street, I just want to alert all the would-be assailants. This is the vibe I'm giving off here. This look. All right. I'm going to put those aside. Hope you're all doing well. Guess who got sued, everyone? Guess who got sued? Did these guys get sued? Fox News get sued? Did they have to pay $1 million? Wow, that's a shame. That is a shame. But that's just going to be one of the stories we are covering today. You want to do something funny? If this is your first time here, we start off the show with something funny. Let's do it.
If you've ever wondered what it's like going to college for theater, it's like this.
Welcome, class. The first thing you must learn is that you are all completely disposable. The single most important thing you can learn is your type. What do you mean you're an alto? Is that flexible? Spike heels. If there's anything else you enjoy doing, I mean anything that you spend your time doing and feel good about, go do that, because this is not for you. No inner life except for your characters. Stop kiss. You can either lose weight or you can gain weight, but you can't be that. Neil LaBute, lucky girl. Viewpoints! I will not explain what they are. If you ask what they are, we will all know that you do not know what they are, and you will be shunned. That'll be $120,000.
$120,000. That's a steep bill. I hope everyone's doing well. I'm going to check out the chat. Oh, let's see. John Hudson, hope you're doing well this morning. Dr. Mordecai, is Newsassity, I'm glad that you asked that. Is Newsassity, I'm going to quote Thomas Aquinas right here, Dr. Mordecai. Nothing is good or bad in and of itself. It is its use or the use that makes it so. So is Newsassity a force or good or evil? I would say it is how you use it. Bam, just like that. Clark Kenting, yes, with my glasses. Tobin Templeman. Yeah, something funny, right? That helps. Funny helps, everyone. All right. What's up, Derek? Cruz and Rage. Hope you're doing well, Mr. Rage. I saw some of Rage's live stream yesterday about the Christian on Christian. See, that sounds like a genre of porn nobody really wants to watch. There's a lot of crying. There's a lot of guilt. Some Jesus maybe thrown in there. What's up, Jessi Bear? And D Parks. Hey, I actually made a Amazon wish list because, like I said, I'm trying to level up on my gear here in terms of my recorded videos, my uploaded videos, the more funny stuff, right? Yeah, do I have a wish list? Sure. Did I post it on my own personal Facebook page? Yes. Did I post it in the chat? No. Am I going to do that in the future? Probably, when I think about it. Hey, Phil Lister. Somewhere between Petersburg and the island of Gotland. I actually know where that is. I take a look at maps every once in a while. All right. Yeah, so everything's going well with me today. The girlfriend's not here. She's actually at work, so just me and the cat. And she warned me on her way out, the girlfriend, not the cat. She warned me that the cat might be coming up here to visit us during the show. And it's like, that's fine. I'm going to leave the door open. If the cat comes up, the cat comes up. And then we'll make Biscuit part of the show today. If the cat does arrive. I don't know. Hit like, thanks, Jessi Bear. I don't know things. I don't know words. You write down these things and I'll just hit like, please. That'd be fantastic, everyone. And in case you're watching this on Facebook, I can't see your comments because that's just how this service works that I'm using. So if you do want to comment, if you do want to pop on the show in the chat, interact with me, interact with people in the chat, come on over to YouTube. It's the Laughing in Disbelief YouTube channel. You want to do some memes, everyone? Let's do some memes, right? Memes. I guess that's my meme song. Memes. Here it is. When you both want the last slice of pizza. That's hard. That is hard. They both want the last slice of pizza, but, you know, someone's going to hell. That's all I know. In this kind of conflict about the last slice of pizza, someone is going to go to hell for that. All right. So this has a lot of truth in it, everyone. It's a bitter pill. As many of you know, comedy is just a sugarcoating of bitter pills, of truth, bitter truth. And here it is from The Simpsons, or a meme of The Simpsons. This is the hottest summer of my life. This is the coldest summer of the rest of your life. No, Homer. That is so true. That is so true. Yeah. Record temperatures again. I know that June here in the Northeast, I remember hearing this a couple of days ago, that June is slated to be the hottest month of all Junes. This June is the hottest of all Junes in recorded June history. But this is just a sign of things to come. And I want to take a moment here about how not only did capitalism take us to this point, but social democracy is the thing that will take, if we do get out of this, social democracy would be the thing that gets us out of it. I was talking with the Green Party presidential candidate, Harry Hawkins, and his platform when he ran for president back in 2020 was that part of his Green New Deal, part of the Green Party's New Green Deal, was that everyone would get a heat pump. Now, if you know anything about heat pumps, they work in hot weather, they work in cool weather. They're not air conditioners, but I believe they're more energy efficient. And his plan was just to give people heat pumps. Now, doesn't that make sense? Because a lot of these people who are being found dead in their apartments, elderly, people with disabilities as well as the elderly, don't have air conditioners. And they live in large buildings. If you've ever been in congregate housing, if you've ever been in basically housing where there's a lot of poor people, they're very tall buildings typically. And if you don't have air conditioning, or if the air conditioning system isn't working, then heat rises. And if you're on the 6th or the 7th or the 8th floor, you will be boiled. Not boiled, but there's a good chance you're not going to make it out alive if you're elderly, if you have a disability. All right, bringing the party down, Andy. Let's bring it to a cat. Plan to exercise with my friend early in the morning. Both of us next morning. I think I put that on my cat's Facebook page. I think I did. And if I didn't, I'm going to do it today. Yeah, I don't really exercise in the morning. I've tried exercising in the morning before. Early morning, it doesn't work for me, everyone. This happens to work in the morning for me, but not exercise. I can go up and down the stairs, but actual running, swimming, yeah, it's horrible. Jessi Bear, it's already 90 degrees Fahrenheit here, and it's gross. Yeah, it's going to be the heat index is going to be over 100 today. Now, thankfully, where I'm working, there's going to be air conditioning in most of the areas I'm going to be doing my thing at. So I'm going to be loading up with some water, bringing some water with me to hydrate, and I'm going to be safe. That's what I'm going to be. I'm going to be safe. You're too busy to watch the rest of the show. You're breaking my heart, Phil Lister. Roasted. Indeed. Rage says, is a new covenant. Hell on earth. God is tired of our shite. Indeed, the imaginary God is bringing very real heat on us. And depression intensifies. I hope the cat meme helped, right? I hope the cat meme helped. All right. Oh, hey, Samy Jenkins, guilt, crying, and Christian on Christian. Oh, yes, the Christian on Christian genre porn right there. Sounds like regular Wednesday for me, laughing in disbelief. All right, everyone. It's time to turn that frown upside down. We're going to talk about Fox News getting sued and having to pay money, cash money. And you know what Yogi Berra said, cash money is almost as good as money, something like that. Our favorite fascist, quote unquote, non-news source having to pay New York. It's only $1 million. All right, it's only $1 million. But still, it's a nice precedent, isn't it? Let's take a look at the story. And the links are in the description below. Fox News agrees to $1 million fine for violating human rights law. Yes, $1 million. They were found guilty on 4 counts, and they made a bargain. But let's check out the story. Despite Fox News' claims to have repaired the company's toxic workplace culture since the firing of founder and chairman Roger Ailes in July 2016, Rupert Murdoch's media empire has effectively admitted to ongoing misconduct that includes sexual harassment, discrimination, and retaliation against victimized employees, and has agreed to pay $1 million fine for what New York City's Commission on Human Rights called a pattern of violating of the New York City's human rights law. All right, so it's nice that Fox News had to pay $1 million. It's nice that they have to publicly admit that they've been engaging in the harassment or allowing the harassment of employees, of committing retribution against those who are whistleblowers. It's nice that they have to do that. But tell me if I'm wrong, Chad. Tell me if I'm wrong on this. But $1 million isn't enough, and that people who were decision makers who allowed this to happen, they should be personally charged too. Only then, because $1 million to Fox News, it isn't a whole lot, is it? Of course not. But if you make people pay, individuals pay, if you put their names up in lights, then that creates more of a disincentive for, lack of a better word, assholery. The settlement statement reached last week with the Human Rights Commission contains the largest ever financial penalty assessed by the agency's 6-decade history, and also requires Fox News to remove mandatory, confidential arbitration clauses from the contracts of on-air talent, along with other employees and contributors for a period of 4 years when they file legal claims under the city's human rights law outside of the company's internal process. It also demands immediate changes to policies regarding or surrounding reporting sexual harassment, retaliation, training, and compliance with the New York City human rights law, according to the statement for the commission, which added the commission will monitor the network on a quarterly basis for a 2-year period to ensure compliance. So this is fantastic, actually, is that there's going to be monitoring by the New York City's Human Rights Commission at Fox News. I don't know what that monitoring means, but it can't be pleasant for the people at Fox Studios. Well, it can't be pleasant for, the fascists, the oligarchs at the head of Fox Studios, knowing that the New York City's Human Rights Commission is breathing down their back for the next 2 years. Labor lawyer Nancy Erica Smith, who represented former Fox News anchor Gretchen Carlson in the sexual harassment and retaliation lawsuit that cost Ailes his job and won Carlson a $20 million settlement from a Fox News parent company, 21st Century Fox, called the right-leaning cable channel settlement agreement, especially its admission of guilt, monumental. Until now, I'm not aware of any government agency requiring an employer to stop silencing victims of discrimination, harassment, and retaliation. And that's what NDAs and arbitration do. They silence victims, Smith told the Daily Beast. So bravo, finally. The government is seeing that silencing victims protects harassers. You just ask yourself sometimes. It's like, how did we not know this, right? Global climate change, we knew. Global climate change was their thing. We know that NDAs silence victims and empower harassers. And once again, a constant theme on this show is that the problems that we're facing, how to deal with them. It isn't a question of wisdom. It isn't a question on what to do. It's a question of political will. It's a question of virtue. It's a question of executing on what we know what needs to be done. Like making Fox News pay. The commission said Fox News' $1 million civil penalty was based on the maximum fine of $250,000 for each of 4 violations cited in the settlement agreement, a figure researched by willful and wanton violations of the law, the statement added. The commission ascertained that a pattern and practice of violations took place at Fox. I'm shocked and dismayed. Now, let's see what's going on here in the chat. Jessi Bear says Fox will turn this around and cry about being victims, of course, of victims who were brave enough to speak out. I hope the victims get a cut of that check. Well, it would be nice, wouldn't it? Yes, it would be nice. Wow, Dr. Mordecai. You know, you said a couple of things, Dr. Mordecai, and this is the thing that is near and dear to my heart. Off with their heads, old school. France circa 1780s, 1790s right there. All right. Right. Well, this is the thing, Jessi Bear. The 1 million is not too much to them. And the problem is with the law. The problem is the fact that a company can only be charged $250,000 for each charge, each time that they've been seen to break the law. So they had 4 counts, $250,000 a pop, so that's $1 million. But you're right, there should be a lot more. And I would say you got to make it personal. You got to make individuals who engage in this behavior hurt. You have to make them feel the pain, the financial pain, and maybe even jail time. John Hudson, your waiting has been brought to you by the global cabal. Rage is out of here. Oh man. Yeah, but yeah. Good luck, Rage. Jessi Bear says, we have AC in my home, but we have to use blackout curtains to keep it cool because it's an old house, beautiful home, but yeah, crap insulation. Yeah, I'm with you on that, Jessi Bear. I've had old houses before, and I've used blackout curtains. Blackout curtains, to tell you the truth, it is a cheap way of keeping your place warm in the winter and cool in the summer. Big advocate of blackout curtains. In fact, the only reason why I'm in Studio A right now is because I have blackout curtains still left on the right of me. Because in the past when I've been in here, this room gets nothing but sunlight in the morning. And what makes this doable is the fact that we have blackout curtains on these 2 windows. I'm ahead of myself. I'm way ahead of myself. I didn't even make any kind of statements about what's going on for this weekend. Filmmaker Joe Badon, he did God Inside Your Ear and Sister Tempest, 2 full-length movies. Incredible. If you like odd, weird mashups of different movie genres, then and non-traditional storytelling, Joe Badon is your guy. He is going to be on the show this Sunday night at 10:30 p.m. He's a guerrilla filmmaker. He does these great films on a shoestring budget. He has a Kickstarter right now, and he's going to be on, and we're going to talk movies. We're going to talk about, if you're interested in doing a Kickstarter, then he might be the guy you want to ask questions about. You know, He's done 2 full-length movies. Like I said, he's doing another series of projects, and he's going to be on The Late Show at 10:30 p.m. Eastern this Sunday. We're also doing Atheist Drinking Out Loud on Saturday at 5 p.m. Eastern. So it's basically me drinking way too much, Neil the 604 Atheist drinking too much, Seamus from Free Thought Prophet drinking too much, and I believe Dave, West Coast Dave, Secular Dave, is going to be joining us too, as well as a mystery guest. So there's going to be 4 of us on. It's going to be crazy. Hey, speaking of Dave. Well, you're working today, Dave, so. Oh, I should be saying things like D. Parks is suggesting. Like, share, and subscribe. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for reminding me, D. Hello, Wild Eden. Hope you're doing well. How warm is it over in Scotland? You know, the times I've been over to Scotland, I had good weather both times. During the summer, warm, not too hot. It's actually a very pleasant experience. All right, so what are we doing next, everyone? So you say to yourself, America, the United States of America, the states, we are divided by religion, right? Amongst industrialized societies, we're one of the most religious, or we are the most religious. And there's obvious conflicts that are brought about by religion. However, let us not forget that there are other countries, democracies, okay, kind of democracies, that are also divided by faith and are just as bad, if not worse, than we are. Watch it. Here it is. Most Indians oppose interfaith marriage, survey shows. And Indians, of course, we're talking about people from the subcontinent. Here it comes. Most Indians see themselves in their country as religiously tolerant, but are against interfaith marriage. Oh, my freaking God. My fictitious God. So most Indians see themselves as being in a religiously tolerant country, and they probably want to see themselves as religiously tolerant too, but they just don't want to see Hindu penises in Islamic vaginas, or the other way around, I guess, because that goes against their thoughts and feelings and sincerely held beliefs. Let's go. People across different faiths in the country said stopping interfaith marriage was a high priority. I want to read that sentence again. It isn't just the fact that they don't like interfaith marriage in India. They want to stop it. They want to stop interfaith marriage in India. And it's a high priority. People across different faiths in the country said stopping interfaith marriage was a high priority. The research comes. See, now this is from, I think, the BBC, and this is a horrible sentence. So whenever you go on my blog, Laughing in Disbelief, and you complain about my horrible grammar or a misspelling every once in a while, and by the way, today's post on Laughing in Disbelief about how Florida declares Canada's health system to be a crime against humanity. Pretty funny stuff, if I do say so myself. But this is from the BBC. They can't formulate a simple sentence. The research follows laws introduced. The research follows laws introduced in several Indian states that criminalize interfaith love. Pew interviewed 30,000 people across India in 17 languages for the study. The interviewees were from 26 states and 3 federally administered territories. So it sounds like they got a lot. India's a huge place. It's a huge place, and it's a real diverse place too. According to the survey, 80% of Muslims who were interviewed felt it was important to stop people from their community from marrying into other religion. Around 65% of Hindus feel the same. So they aren't saying, just to clarify this, they're not saying religious, interfaith marriage isn't for me, right? They're not saying that. They're saying that other people shouldn't do it. The survey also asked about the relationship between faith and nationality. It found Hindus tend to see their religious identity and Indian national identity as closely intertwined. Yes, they do. Nearly 2/3 of Hindus, 64%, said it was very important to be a Hindu in order to be truly Indian. Every once in a while, we bring up Prime Minister Modi, who's in charge of India. He has a history of anti-Muslim activities. There was a riot in the home province that he was, I believe, governor of before he became prime minister. Yeah. The Hindu nationalism is real. It is as real as white supremacy here in the States. Marriages between Hindus and Muslims have long attracted censure in conservative Indian families, but couples are also facing legal hurdles now. India's Special Marriage Act mandates a 30-day notice period for interfaith couples. And some Indian states, led by governing the BJP party, have taken further steps, introducing laws which ban unlawful conversion by force or fraudulent means. It is a response to what right-wing Hindu groups called love jihad, a baseless conspiracy theory that accuses Muslim men of luring Hindu women with the sole purpose of converting to Islam. Yes, love jihad is kind of like their QAnon, everyone. Love jihad. So the concept is that a Muslim man would marry a Hindu woman so that she would convert to Islam. Sounds like a crazy conspiracy theory. The opposition to interfaith relationships is something Sumit Shushan, I don't know, I'm sorry, that this gentleman and his wife can relate to. He is from a Hindu family, although he identifies by his Dalit caste, formerly known as the Untouchables, and she is a Muslim. He and his Hindu relatives had some misconceptions about the Muslim community, but I convinced my mother and sister and brother. But for her, things were not as simple. Her family refused to let them marry, she said. The couple decided to tie the knot in secret, and her family did not talk to the couple for almost 3 years, he said. And even though they're now on speaking terms, her parents still won't publicly acknowledge the marriage. This is a long story. The link is in the description below if you want to take a look at it more in depth. But yeah, it isn't the fact that there are people, religiously inclined people in India, who say, interfaith marriage isn't for me, I'm not going to do it. But they are actively using the state and the state's power to disincentivize that kind of activity. Checking out the chat. Let's see. I'm surrounded by Christians. Help. I'm sorry, Dr. Mordecai. 17 degrees and sunny today. Well, that doesn't sound too bad from what little I understand of Celsius. That seems like a rather nice temperature. Let's see. What's the age demographic on this? Because I feel from my anecdotal personal experience, younger people under 40 from India are more open to it as well as lack of religion. It is interesting. So Pew Research poll, they typically weigh, or they do legitimately random samples. And they, for those of us who've taken basic, statistics classes, there are ways of getting a random sample. So that's what I'm guessing. I would put smart money with that the actual paper, the actual survey, the data analysis shows a breakdown, right? And I want to just continue with that, Jessi Bear, is that I'm sure people in the city, right? People in the city are more tolerant than people in the countryside. Because let's not forget that there are still caste killings. There's still caste honor killings in the countryside in some states in India. So in other words, if you're a Dalit, if you're the lowest caste, and if you marry someone who is of a different caste, then there are honor killings still going on in India for marrying the wrong caste. Let's see, checking out the rest of the chat. Well, that's what it is. Pain in families due to imaginary beings, right? Thank you. The BJP is the Indian People's Party. And I believe their major, because they have a parliamentary system, their major adversary, politically speaking, is the Congress Party. All right. I would say, I would agree with you, D. Parks, is religion is dying a slow and painful death, more or less. If we were going to graph it out, and if we were going to look at the curve would be going down over time. However, never underestimate the ability of religion to throw us into a dark age. I'm sorry. But yes, if everything's going the way it is, if oligarchical theocratic fascists don't take over the United States of America, if we don't plummet into another dark age, then yes, religion will be dying a continuing painful death, slow death over the next few centuries. Oh, Paul Camish, I'm surrounded by atheists or people who don't give a crap. It is wonderful. Yeah, being in the area that I live in, being in the area where I'm at, there's not too many religious people, so it does. But my heart goes out to people who do have to deal with that. I've had to deal with it before. I grew up in a religious household, and it can be tough. Halftime tummy rub show, everyone. Halftime tummy rub show. Please hit the like button. As you have noticed, there's no ads. We're not doing ads anymore. Everything's going to be funded. If whatever, if you want to contribute a shekel or two, you can still do the live chat. You can still do a chat, super chat. You can also become a member and you can become a patron. But I got sick and tired of ads, and I don't want to subject you to ads. And I know that there are other podcasts, other shows that are completely viewer supported. So screw the ads. I haven't gotten rid of all the ads to my past shows. I'm in the process of doing that. There's like a lot of shows I have to just like get rid of the ads for. But let's do the halftime show, everyone. Let's do that. I rambled enough, right? Something.
Are you lonely? Well, introducing a puppy, the ultimate cute and cuddly stress machine. Is your couch in too great of a shape? The puppy can handle that in seconds. Not bleeding enough today? Well, the puppy will bite your hands as you try to prevent it from eating the couch. Why be at home watching the same old office reruns when you can be cleaning the poop your new puppy just smeared all over the living room? Good thing she ate the other half. If you're having trouble waking up for work, the puppy is fully equipped with an annoying, ear-piercing bark that will wake you up every 30 minutes. You'll never have a great night's sleep again. Say goodbye to your social life and say hello to a puppy. Because if you're wondering...
Oh, my cat just entered the room, actually, but I don't think she's going to come and visit me. She knows that I'm working. And if she gets too close, I'm going to pick her up and show her to you all. And that's only happened once. It's a smart cat I have, everyone. Biscuit the cat. So yeah, have a puppy. Have a puppy and you get to have all those pleasures. We were going to get a puppy too. We were going to get corgis, but then we moved into a 3-floor place and the corgis couldn't go up 3 flights of stairs. The cat loves running up and down the stairs, but I don't think it would be a very corgi-esque, corgi-friendly environment. Oh yeah, you're right about that, Jessi Bear. Cats are self-cleaning. So let's take a look here. Yesterday in BC, British Columbia hit, which is 113 degrees Fahrenheit, and 36 degrees in Calgary today, high of 36. If you're in the area, or if you have a lot of heat, if you have record heat going on where you live, or if it is toasty, super hot, then I suggest, if you have elderly relatives, to definitely check in on them. because, of course, as you get older, not for all people who are elderly, but for some, they're not able to monitor their environment that well. And some may, just as they're feeling sick, it might be too late already. And from what I understand from the medical literature is that people who are older, people who are elderly, can't really determine whether or not they're dehydrated too well. So once again, if Nan or your granddad, your great uncle, if they're nearby, or even if they're not, maybe just giving them a call and seeing how they're doing would be nice. All right. Well, that's the problem, right? Religion will die with the horrific death throes of death and destruction. That's a real possibility, right? That's a real possibility. All right. What are the other stories? Should we talk about COVIDiots or cop kills teen for holding a jug? I'm going to go with COVIDiots. I guess we're going to have to do police violence. Police violence it is. Arkansas deputy kills teen armed with antifreeze, trying to fix a truck. Yep. I'm going to cough right now. You're going to have to excuse me. Man, rough morning, everyone. Rough morning. Add bottle of antifreeze to the list of common objects law enforcement officers have mistaken for deadly weapons and then used to justify shooting, and in this case, killing an unarmed citizen. Family and friends of 17-year-old Hunter Brittain are speaking out after he was shot and killed in Lonoke County, Arkansas, sheriff's deputy in an early morning encounter near Cabot, a suburb of Little Rock, last week. According to an account by 16-year-old Jordan King, who was with Brittain, I'm going to pronounce it as Brittain at the time, the two of them were working on repairs to a truck's transmission and were pulled over by Sergeant Michael Davis after driving the truck away from the body shop at about 3 a.m. on June 23rd. King told local ABC affiliate KTV News that the truck wouldn't properly shift into park, so Brittain went to the back of the truck with a jug of antifreeze to prop open the truck's tire so that it wouldn't roll backward and strike Davis's vehicle. That's when Davis shot at Brittain. And according to King, Davis didn't tell him to stop or get on the ground. He just shot him. Just shot him. The press release from Arkansas Department of Public Safety is par for the course with its vague use of passive voice when it described what happened. Hunter Brittain, 17, of McRae, the driver of the truck stopped by the deputy, sustained a gunshot wound and was transported to North Little Rock Hospital, where he later died. Later on in the statement, it does acknowledge that Davis fired his gun at Brittain. State police are investigating the shooting. There is body camera footage. Lonoke County Sheriff Joe Staley put out a statement Thursday saying that he supports letting the body camera footage, which he has handed over to the state police for the investigation, to be publicly released. We shouldn't rely on police to determine when they should release body cam footage, right? I mean, that just seems to be common sense, is that we can't rely on the police who are policing the police to determine when it's okay to release the body cam footage. State law allows for the use of deadly force in self-defense in situations where a person reasonably believes the other person is about to commit a violent felony or the unlawful deadly force, or use unlawful deadly force. There is a duty to retreat in the law, but law enforcement officers are specifically exempt. The inclusion of the reasonably believed standard is relevant because one of the ways that law enforcement officers are able to excuse killing an unarmed person is by arguing that they fear they were in danger, even when the facts don't support it, and that this fear was nevertheless reasonable given the circumstances. Militarized warrior cop training, I can't believe that that's a thing. This is what's wrong. This is one of the many things that's wrong with policing here in the States. Militarized warrior cop training even encourages law enforcement officers to see the people they interact with as potential threats, regardless of the circumstances. And then these experts are put on the stand whenever an officer faces trial for a shooting to attempt to convince a jury that this constant fear is justified. I don't think it's a good plan to try to keep people, to law officers, in a constant state of anxiety. Because as we all know, people don't make good decisions when they're in a constant state of anxiety. my brain hurts. All right, let's see what's going on. Facebook user, can you get a shot for fun? Well, can you get shot for Facebook user says for fighting in front of a cop? There was a person in Austria, actually. This is under one of those Reddit subreddits of, hey, this is weird news. But there was a gentleman in Austria, I think it was in Vienna, who actually did fart in front of a cop when the cop asked him for identification or something like that. And the guy did get into some trouble. But, cops apparently can just shoot people for any reason here in the States when you go into some counties. This kid, 17-year-old kid, just carrying a jug, and the cop shot him down. Oh, D Parks. There's big advertising here locally for the church-based health plans that such a scam. If you haven't seen John Oliver's This Week Tonight, I believe is the name of the show, he goes and talks about these health care, quote unquote, plans done by churches. And it turns out that it's a scam. It's a scam. Let's see. I think I caught up with the chat, everyone. Well, if you're a cop, you should have mental health exams on a regular basis, right? How is that not reasonable? That you should at least talk to someone, maybe a pen and paper test, some kind of exam to make sure you're okay, to make sure that you're mentally and emotionally stable. I'm not saying cops don't have a tough job, but what I'm saying is that their training should not exacerbate, should not make worse their work, should not make worse the job. Last Week Tonight. Thank you, Jessi Bear. Yes, they were an excellent show. Last Week Tonight, John Oliver did on these so-called healthcare plans done by churches. You'll see him, every once in a while. I was listening to Dave Ramsey, who is a financial guy, when I was driving around late at night or in the afternoon, whenever he was on. And there were ads. There were ads for these healthcare scams. Well, that's the thing, Tesla Ranger. It is so Tesla Ranger writes, cops suffer from PTSD from all that constant fear, right? Well, it's a positive feedback loop, right? So you're instilled with having constant fear by this training. You go out into an anxious job where that training and the environment creates more anxiety, and that just ratchets up the anxiety over and over again. The city I live in is also known as the city of churches. I would like to live in the city of libraries. How's that? Is there a city named that? The city of libraries. That would be pretty cool. The city of independent movie houses. That would be okay too. The city of museums. All of those would be vastly superior to the city of churches. I bought the Last Week Tonight stamps because they were funny, and off the occasion I snail mail. That's fun. Oh, good for you. Good for you, Jess. I did not know that they existed. All right. We got to do this one more show. We got to do this one more story before we sign off. Once again, we do the after party after show. It's an open room if you want to pop in and just talk. I'll be on. There's typically a couple of people who join up. Link to the show in the description. And look, if I don't know you, if you're not in the chat on the regular, I'm not going to let you on the panel because we had an incident yesterday. And so I'm going to be a bit more conservative with people who I let on the channel, who I get on the panel. So Just want to let you know. City of Museums would be my favorite. Indeed, Jessi Bear. All right. So what? Oh, okay. COVID and idiots. It seems as if it's kind of like back during the Trump presidency, right? We'd always have to do some story about idiot Trump. Now with COVID and the Delta variant, it seems like every day there has to be at least something said about the disaster. So here it is. Poll, nearly 3/4 of Americans say Delta variant poses a serious risk, yet few vaccine holdouts are swayed. All right, so we're going to take a poll right here, our own unscientific poll amongst the chat. Why aren't people getting the vaccine? There are a variety of different reasons, right? They can not have access to it. They may not find time to do it. So there is a reason why, and it's an obvious reason too. I feel silly for asking you this, but there is a reason why people who are vaccine hesitant, who refuse to get the vaccine, there is one main reason why they're not getting it. I'll tell you about it at the end of this story. Here we go. With the hypercontagious Delta variant well on its way to becoming dominant in the U.S., nearly 3/4 of Americans believe it poses a serious risk to the country's progress against the pandemic, according to a new Yahoo News YouGov poll. Yet so far, very few of those most vulnerable to sickness, hospitalizations, or death from Delta, the unvaccinated, say its spread has made them more inclined to shield themselves and others through inoculation. Say its spread has made them more inclined. Yes. So, okay. I just want to let you all know. Your head's going to explode. But actually, with this variant, Delta variant, there's actually a substantial percentage of people here in the States that are less likely to get vaccinated due to it. I don't understand it either. In fact, nearly as many unvaccinated Americans, 10%, say Delta's rise has made them feel less likely to get vaccinated. 75% say it has made no difference. So let's just go through this, okay? The numbers. 3/4 of Americans say Delta variant poses a serious risk, okay? However, 10% say Delta's rise has made them less likely to get vaccinated. A full 75% say it has made no difference. Links to the description to the full study. So now we're going to get to the nub of why people aren't getting vaccinated here in the States. I'm going to check out the chat first before John Hudson. 5G, good question. Good answer, John Hudson, like that. Well, political tribalism plus scientific ignorance equals COVID-idiots, indeed. And you're totally right about this, Vesta, is that cops should not be stigmatized for seeking help for mental health issues by their police department. And they shouldn't be stigmatized for seeking mental health. And to make it more normal, it should be required for people, right, to go in and talk to someone, to a licensed mental health professional. All right. So this is the reason, everyone, why people just aren't getting vaccinated at this point. It's because they don't trust the COVID-19 vaccines. 51% said that's the reason. They just don't trust it, despite the abundant safety and efficacy data and statistical proof that a deadly virus is far riskier than extremely low-risk vaccines. As a result, the U.S. has effectively run out of people who are willing to get vaccinated. Just 2% say they plan to receive a shot as soon as possible to them. At the same time, most of the country seems to be embracing reopening and casting aside their masks. So once again, 51% people, the reason why they're not getting vaccinated is because they just don't trust it. They just don't trust the vaccine. America. Take care, Wilding. It's good having you here. All right. So, are you related to those humans? Well, it's good to remember. This is what helps me try to, when I'm centered and I think about people who are obviously endangering themselves. And let's face it, if you're not getting vaccinated, you're endangering the rest of us. Because if you get COVID, you're unvaccinated, you are like a petri dish for COVID to mutate, right? To replicate, and possibly mutate into something worse. So, echoing what Sam Harris has said, is that if free will doesn't exist, then it just becomes a question of bad systems running, right? Just bad systems. So when people do crazy, insane things like saying, we know Delta variant poses significant risks, but they are less likely to get vaccinated, it's like, that's just an effect of having a bad brain. Because remember, everyone, evolution doesn't do perfect. It just does good enough. And you get to see the flaws of our brains in situations like this. I don't know if that helps anyone. I don't know if that helps make anyone feel better or sleep easier at night. I love that Joshua quote, that spin on that. For me and my house, we will be vaccinated. Indeed. Love it. Love it. Well, James Henry, glad to see you're here, sir. If you get vaccinated, it will offer you some protection against the Delta variant. Indeed. If you don't, you will die, or you will get really, really hurt for a long period of time. There are people still dealing with long-term effects of COVID. Wow, I'm not even looking at the clock, everyone. All right. Let's put a cherry on this Sunday. Let's put a bow on the show. Let's do something funny.
Do you find that the last year and a half with your kid has been priceless and an endless nightmare? Do you find each day with them is like Groundhog Day, but you're not learning the lesson? Well, I can't fix your trauma, but I can fix your kids. Hi, I'm Ray from Ray's Daycare Center, and I can turn your little terror into your little treasure. Learning is critical even at these early years, which is why I let him have as much screen time as possible. I don't have a college degree, but I'm sure one of the people who wrote those shows do. If it does, do they do it? Do they does it? They does do it? Exercise is important at a young age, so when you're 50 drinking beers, you can brag about how high school you was so awesome, which is why we get a young start with Ray's Play Area. Imagination is key. All of our play areas are monitored by my cousin Dylan. So call now, because I'm not watching more than like 6 kids. I got a back thing.
Time with children, both priceless and sometimes a living nightmare. All right. Oh, wow. Well, how about that? My parents publicly said they will not allow unvaccinated people in their house. Tough but fair, Glenn Chesterton. Tough but fair. All right. Thank you, everyone, for participating in the show. For those of you who've been watching on Facebook, thank you. For those of you in the chat, thank you for all of you lurkers out there. Fantastic. Glad that you're here. Once again, no ads. I could be running ads on this show. I'd be running ads on, the after party, after show, the open room. I'm not. This is just going to be fully funded by viewers. So if you want to throw a couple of shekels in, please throw a couple of shekels. If you want to be a patron, be a patron. If you want to be a YouTube member, please be a YouTube member. But basically, that's the end of the show, right? I'm going to do the thank you video for YouTube supporters, for the members and for the patrons. And I will hopefully see you all at 10 a.m. for the open room. Take care, everyone.